乱暴しようか。術式順で紫。
I want you to listen closely. That creak you just heard from the other room? The flicker of a shadow you thought you saw at the edge of your vision? You probably told yourself it was nothing, just the house settling, just your eyes playing tricks on you. But what if it wasn't? What if the negative energy you feel after a long, stressful day, the anxiety, the fear, the anger, what if it didn't just disappear? What if it pooled together in the dark corners of the world, festering, taking shape, and growing hungry? All right, let's be real. You've seen the grotesque, terrifying curses in Jujutsu Kaisen. But what if I told you that Gege Akutami didn't just pull these nightmares from his imagination? What if I told you that the horrors that Yuji Itadori and the students of Jujutsu High fight against are walking, talking, modernized versions of Japan's most terrifying real-world ghost stories, historical demons, and nightmare-fuel urban legends? Because they are. And tonight, we're peeling back the curtain. We're going to connect the dots between the curses that haunt our screens and the ancient tales and modern terrors that have haunted Japan for centuries. This isn't your grandma's ghost story. You've been warned. First, we have to understand the brilliant foundation Gege Akutami built his world on. In Jujutsu Kaisen, curses are born from the aggregate of negative human emotions. Fear, hatred, jealousy, all that toxic energy leaks from non-sorcerers, coalesces, and eventually manifests as a curse. This concept isn't just a cool power system, it's a direct reflection of deep-seated beliefs in Japanese culture. For centuries, Shinto and Buddhist folklore have been filled with tales of Onryo and Yurei, vengeful ghosts and spirits born from powerful, unresolved, negative emotions in life. A person who dies with intense hatred or sorrow can return as a malevolent spirit to wreak havoc. So every time you see a curse in JJK, you're not just seeing a monster, you're seeing the physical embodiment of a very real, very ancient cultural belief that our feelings have power and that our darkest emotions can literally haunt the world long after we're gone. Okay, with that foundation laid, let's talk about the big guy, the king of curses, the disgraced one, Ryomen Sukuna. In the anime, he's the ultimate evil, a legendary sorcerer from 1,000 years ago, so powerful that his spirit had to be sealed across 20 indestructible fingers. But the name Ryomen Sukuna wasn't invented for the manga. He exists in one of Japan's oldest historical texts, the Nihon Shoki, which dates back to the 8th century. But here's the twist. The real-world accounts describe Sukuna not as a demon, but as a human figure, a powerful clan leader who ruled the Hida province. The text says he had 2 faces on the front and back of his head, 4 arms and 4 legs, and that he defied the imperial Yamato court. Because he was an enemy of the ruling emperor, the official court history paint him as a monstrous villain, a rogue demon who had to be put down by a brave general. But many local legends in Hida province still worship Sukuna as a hero and a minor deity, believing he was simply the powerful leader of a unique culture who was unfairly demonized by his conquerors. Are you seeing the parallels? Gege Sukuna is the king of curses, but he was once a human, the most powerful sorcerer of his age. He operates entirely on his own selfish desires, defying any and all authority, a perfect reflection of the historical figure who defied the emperor. The monstrous appearance, the multiple limbs, the status as both a demonized figure and a being of immense godlike power, it's all there. Gege took this ambiguous 1,000-year-old figure from history, part man, part monster, part god, and made him the ultimate antagonist. From the king of curses, let's move to perhaps the most philosophically terrifying of them all, Mahito, the patchwork-faced curse born from humanity's hatred and fear of each other. His ability, idol transfiguration, allows him to reshape the very soul and thus the body of anyone he touches, turning them into grotesque, mangled puppets. This is pure body horror, and its roots are deep in Japanese folklore and urban legends. While you could connect him to faceless ghosts like the Nopperabo, a more visceral inspiration comes from modern urban legends that prey on the fear of bodily disfigurement. The most famous of these is the teke-teke. The legend tells of a young woman who was pushed or fell onto a railway line and was cut in half by a train. Now, her vengeful spirit, an onryo, roams Japan. She is nothing but an upper torso, dragging herself along on her hands or elbows, making a scratching teka-teka sound. If she catches you, she'll pull out a scythe and cut you in half, making you just like her. The core horror of the teke-teke isn't just the ghost. It's the violent, horrifying transformation of the human body. This is the exact terror Mahito embodies. He doesn't just kill you, he violates your very form, reshaping you into something monstrous, a twisted mockery of what you once were. The transfigured humans he creates, crawling and moaning, are a direct echo of the crawling, vengeful torso of the teke-teke. Gege weaponized the horror of disfigurement and made it a central curse's power.
But Gege doesn't just pull from legends, he pulls from classical art. Let's talk about the cursed wombs, death paintings, the three brothers, Choso, Eso, and Ketchizu. Their origin and their very name are a direct reference to a specific and gruesome type of Japanese Buddhist art called kusauzu. Kusauzu, which translates to 9 stages of a decaying corpse, were scrolls painted in medieval Japan, and they were created for Buddhist monks and nuns to meditate upon. Each scroll graphically depicts the 9 stages a human body goes through after death, from a fresh corpse to bloating, putrefaction, being eaten by animals, and finally, becoming scattered bones. It was a form of meditation on the impermanence and uncleanliness of the physical body, meant to help one achieve enlightenment and detach from worldly desires.
Now think about the death painting brothers. They are cursed spirits who are part human, created from a human woman who could birth curses. They literally embody the decay and corruption of the human form. Their techniques, like Izo's rot technique, are based on decay and poison. They are a living, breathing, weaponized personification of these ancient, morbid Buddhist meditation scrolls. It's an incredibly deep and dark pull, taking a real-world religious and artistic concept about the horror of mortality and turning it into a trio of antagonists. And finally, Gege shows his love for modern internet-era ghost stories by pulling some of Japan's most famous urban legends directly into the world of JJK. The most blatant example is the kuchisake-onna, or the slit-mouthed woman. This is arguably Japan's most famous urban legend. A spirit of a woman mutilated by her husband, she wears a surgical mask and approaches victims, asking, "Am I pretty?" If you say no, she kills you. If you say yes, she removes her mask to reveal her mouth slit from ear to ear and asks, "How about now?" No matter what you do, you're doomed.
In the Shibuya arc, Kenjaku literally summons a curse that is the kuchisake-onna. It corners a victim and asks,
Am I pretty? It's a direct one-to-one adaptation of the legend, showing how in the JJK world, a story told often enough, with enough fear behind it, can literally manifest as a real curse that acts out the legend's rules. It's a brilliant way to blur the line between fiction and the anime's reality. So, what does this all mean? It means that Jujutsu Kaisen isn't just a fantasy story, it's an anthology of Japanese fear. Gege Akutami has acted like a master sorcerer himself, taking a demonized historical figure from an 8th century text, a vengeful spirit from a modern urban legend, morbid meditation art from Buddhist monks, and the foundational cultural belief in vengeful spirits, and has woven them all together to create a world that feels both fantastical and terrifyingly real. The curses in JJK are scary, not just because of what they do, but because of where they come from. They are the echoes of stories whispered in the dark for over 1,000 years. So the next time you watch JJK, remember, you're not just watching an anime, you're looking at a history book of horror. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the nightmare fuel that built Jujutsu Kaisen. So, I have to ask you, which JJK curse, or the real-world legend behind it, scares you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave your suggestions for our next investigation. If you feel a little more enlightened and a lot more terrified, please exercise that like button. It really helps the channel out. And one last time, make sure you are subscribed with all notifications on so you don't get left behind in the dark. Thanks for joining this special investigation, and maybe sleep with the lights on tonight?